Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am just Mike. You are watching and you are listening to episode number 38 of the Rock Out Wild Show, where it's not just a show, it is a way of life. Now, if you haven't done so yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below this very video. You can also comment under this episode of the Rock Out Wild Show and tell me what is your favorite solo female singers and artists of the 90s. And you could also like or dislike this episode of the Rock Out Wild Show and share this video to everyone you know. Tell everyone about the Rock Out Wild Show, from your family to your friends to your co-workers to your acquaintances. Spread the word about the Rock Out Wild Show. This is episode number 38, and as you see for the title of this very video, for the main event of this very episode, I will be ranking my top 30 favorite solo female singers slash artists of the 90s. This is a topic I've been wanting to do since the very beginning of the Rock Out Wild Show, episode 1. And now I think is the perfect time to do this kind of topic. But before we get to that, on the docket we will have on this day for September the 17th for the world of professional wrestling, film, television, sports, and music as well. But to kick things off, for episode number 38 of the Rock Out Wild Show, I am going to react to an old movie review of mine. And this is not just any movie I'm reacting to. For the very first time on the Rock Out Wild Show, I will be reacting to a movie directed by the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend. He is Christopher Nolan, and that movie is Interstellar, one of my favorites of all time. Let's see if this review holds up to this day. So what I'm going to do is start the webcam, and there's actually a little bit of light outside left, so I'm glad I am recording this early on September the 2nd, 2025, and it's almost 7:30 p.m., and it still has a bit of light left in the day, so let's get this going. Without any further ado, here is my reaction to my review for the movie called Interstellar. So what I'm going to do is share screen, go right to the movie, make sure the audio is on, and let's go full screen with this, and let's react in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, action.
Now that is what I call an.
Let's go back and let's start again. Go.
Now that is what I call an experience.
I want to point that out. Any movie directed by Nolan is an experience.
Hey, what's up and how's it going, all movie fans out there in the movieverse today? Welcome to the Mike McRock Movie Review Show. Right now, I'm going to review Interstellar. And this movie is about a group of explorers that make use of a newly discovered wormhole to surpass the limitations on human space travel, and they conquer the vast distances involved in an interstellar voyage. And pretty much that's all you need to know, is that Matthew McConaughey goes up in space to save the human species and to save the world as well.
Yep.
And what I really enjoyed in this movie are the special effects. Let's
Yeah.
just get this obvious end out of the
Heck
way
yeah. Heck
first.
yeah.
The cinematography in this movie is absolutely incredible, absolutely mind-blowing to say the very least.
Damn straight.
In this movie, I saw this in the IMAX, and when the spaceship was going up and you hear the sounds and everything going else, the seats were rumbling, and I really enjoyed this experience. Interstellar, to me, is the greatest movie I've seen so far this year. And this stars Matthew.
I want to pause for a moment and say I have a feeling I think I know what the rating is, but we'll get to that.
McConaughey, who plays the main leader. He's the astronaut. His name is Cooper,
Cooper,
and
yep.
all I have to say about Matthew McConaughey is that he is absolutely great in
Yeah.
this movie.
He's
You also
awesome.
have
He's awesome.
actors like Anne Hathaway and Jessica Chastain who are also really great in this movie. I like the relationship with Matthew McConaughey and his daughter at age 10. And when you're going to put a kid in this movie, the kid should not be annoying. And is she annoying? Not at all. I thought that she made me care
Yep.
about the relationship between her and her father, and that made me emotionally invested in their relationship. And they're a great duo as well.
They are, yeah.
What I also like in this movie is that there's some surprise actors that I'm not going to name. I'm not going to spoil. If you want to go see this movie, just be surprised.
Damn
And
right.
going into this movie, I feel like that my expectations were really high
Yeah, they
coming
were.
out of this movie. My expectations were totally lived up here. Now, some people are going to say that this movie is overcomplicated. The quantum physics doesn't make sense. There are things in this movie that doesn't make sense. But to me, when I really analyze this movie, this is one of those movies where you really don't need to analyze it too much because if
Yeah.
you do, you're going to find flaws in this movie. You're going to find plot holes in this movie. You're going to find things in this movie that don't make sense. And
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes it's best not to overanalyze. I mean, you can analyze to an extent, but sometimes you have to leave some stuff to the imagination.
when you look at it at that perspective, to me, that makes the fun out of this movie
Yeah,
no fun at all.
damn right.
Just a theory, just throwing it out there, but that's what I believe. So, with that said, this was a very fun movie.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely no question about it. I love the special effects in this movie. I love the acting in this movie. I really like the relationships and I got emotionally invested in this movie. The pacing of this movie, usually I'm one to complain about the pacing sometimes. Sometimes I feel like a movie could be too long, like Transformers Age of Extinction, or maybe too short, like Into the Storm. But even though that mm, to me, I'm not going to complain about the pacing in this movie at all
Yeah,
because to me, this movie needed to be almost 3 hours long to get the point across and
damn
to
right.
really develop the story and the plot
Yeah.
if you really want to make some sense out of it. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, I really can't get over how great this movie is. I know people are going to say that this movie is not the greatest Nolan movie, and not to come off as a Nolan fanboy, but I think this movie has no flaws. This,
To be fair, there are plenty of movies that came out after Interstellar that kind of bump Interstellar down a little bit, but I still love this movie so much. We'll get to the rating in just a bit.
to me, is the perfect movie.
Yeah.
Ever since the movie X-Men, there has been no movie that could top that top spot at number one on my list. So, with that
Oh,
said,
oh.
Interstellar is the new number one movie, and it gets a perfect 100 points. And if you saw Interstellar, what did you think about it? Feel free to comment below and tell me what did you think about this movie. And also, you can hit that subscribe button down below this video to get McRocked.
Damn it, 100 points. 100 freaking points to Inter freaking Stellar, damn it. In Nolan, we trust. You got that right. That is my reaction to my movie review for the movie called Interstellar. It's not just a movie, it's an experience. And you got that right. And I also want to point out that that was the first movie review where I actually use some sound effects for, which is a first for one of my movie reviews. I only do that, I think, when I give a movie 100 points, I give that clappy sound effect. And apparently now with StreamYard, you can use sound effects. I am going to test some of that out. So once I'm done recording, like just experiment around with StreamYard to do some sound effects, see what I can come up with for future Rock Out Wild episodes. In the meantime, let's get into some of the stuff that you know that comes with the Rock Out Wild show, and that is on this day in the world of music, film and television and sports. But to kick things off, we are going to start with some wrestling. So let's take a look at some of the stuff that happened in professional wrestling for September the 17th. We got a picture of Ric Flair there holding the world title. Let's see what happened on this day for September the 17th in the world of professional wrestling. Back in 1981, Ric Flair defeated Dusty Rhodes in Kansas City, Missouri to win his first NWA World Heavyweight Championship that long ago. Holy crap. In 1986, which is the year I was born, at a WWF Wrestling Challenge taping, Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan formed one of the history's most iconic wrestling commentary teams for the very first time. In 1995, Asheville, North Carolina played host to Fall Brawl, headlined by the iconic WCW gimmick match War Games, or as Rico will call War Games. The team of Hulk Hogan, Sting, Lex Luger, and Macho Man Randy Savage defeated the Dungeon of Doom, a team made up of Zodiac, Kamala, Ming, and the Shark. Luger was a last-minute replacement for Vader, who had left WCW the week prior. On the undercard, Harlem Heat defeated Bunkhouse Buck and Dick Slater to win the WCW Tag Team Championships. Yeah, that's right. Bunkhouse Buck! In the year 2000, the final WCW Fall Brawl event emanated from Buffalo, New York. A lackluster event was headlined by Booker T winning the WCW World Heavyweight Championship in a steel cage match against Kevin Nash. In 2001, a WWF Tag Team title change occurred on Monday Night Raw at the Gaylord Entertainment Center in Nashville, Tennessee. The Dudley Boys snared the belts from Kane and The Undertaker. In 2004, legendary wrestling promoter Jim Barnett passed away at age 76. In 2005, at ROH Glory by Honor IV in Long Island, New York, Bryan Danielson returned to ROH after a months-long hiatus and defeated James Gibson for the Ring of Honor World Championship. In 2006, WWE Unforgiven took place in Toronto, Canada. The main event saw John Cena defeat Edge to win the WWE Championship in the first one-on-one TLC match. It is also the only event that featured a TLC match and a Hell in a Cell match on the same card. In the Cell, Triple H and Shawn Michaels defeated Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, and The Big Show in a handicap match. In 2011, Ring of Honor, hosted by Death Before Dishonor IX at the Manhattan Center in New York City. The main event was a ladder match in which the All-Night Express, Rhett Titus and Kenny King defeated Jay and Mark Briscoe to win the future ROH Tag Team Championship shot. In 2017, legendary former wrestler, manager, and commentator Bobby the Brain Heenan passed away at the age of 72. In 2018, Tetsuya Natio defeated Hiroki Goto to win the Never Openweight Championship at the NJPW Destruction in Beppu event. And in 2020, after a hiatus of an approximately 8 months since the coronavirus pandemic engulfed the world, NXT UK held their return TV tapings from the BT Sports studio in London, England. We got some notable wrestling birthdays here. We have Daniel Garcia, born in 1998. And we have a couple of deaths as well. We went over Bobby the Brain Heenan, who passed away in 2017, and Emily Dupree, who passed away in 2023. And those are all the things that happened on this day for September the 17th in the world of professional wrestling. Now let's go over a big long list of sports that happened on the dates. That is today, September the 17th. We have a lot of sports to get to, so let's kick things off. In 1897, U.S. Open's men's golf Chicago, Englishman Joe Lloyd wins his only major title by one stroke over runner-up Willie Anderson of Scotland led it. Last 36-hole U.S. Open. In 1906, playing as Sullivan, Columbia University Jr., Eddie Collins debuts with the A's. In 1912, center fielder Casey Stengel breaks in with Brooklyn and hits for singles. In 1917, American baseball shortstop Honus Wagner retires at 43. Pirates retire his number 33. In 1920, National Football League is born in Canton, Ohio. 12 teams pay $100 each to join American Professional Football Association, renamed the NFL in 1922. Bit of history there. In 1922 also, cyclist Piotr Moskops becomes world sprint champ. In 1927, U.S. National Championship men's tennis, Forest Hills, New York. Frenchman René Lacoste successfully defends title, and beats Bill Tilden 11-9, 6-3, and 11-9. In 1928, Boston Braves pitcher Ray Boggs hits 3 batters in 1 inning during his 4th and final major league appearance in a 15-5 loss to Chicago Cubs. Also in 1928, U.S. National Championship men's tennis Frenchman Henry Cochet wins his only U.S. title, beats American Frank Hunter 4-6, 6-4, 3-6, 7-5, and 6-3. In 1931, Boston Red Sox outfielder Earl Webb sets record with 65 en route to 67 MLB doubles. In 1937, first NFL game in Washington, D.C., Redskins beat New York Giants 13-3. In 1939, U.S. National Championship men's tennis Forest Hills, New York. Ranging Wimbledon champion Bobby Riggs beats fellow American Welby Van Horn 6-4, 6-2, and 6-4. In 1939, U.S. National Championship women's tennis Forest Hills, New York. Dual champion Elise Marble beats Helen Jacobs 6-0, 8-10, and 6-4. In 1941, Stan Musials makes his major league debut for the St. Louis Cardinals, going 2-4. In 1947, Jackie Robinson is named Rookie of the Year by Sporting News. In 1949, Ryder Cup Golf Ganton GC, U.S. beats Great Britain 7-5. Americans win 6 of 8 singles, matches to claim victory. In 1950, San Francisco 49ers, formerly AAFC, play first NFL game live and lose 21-17. In 1953, Ernie Banks becomes Chicago Cubs' first black player. In 1954, in a quick rematch at Yankee Stadium, New York City, Rocky Marciano KOs Ezra Charles in the 8th round to retain his world heavyweight boxing title. In 1955, future MLB Hall of Famer Baltimore Oriole Brooks Robinson goes 2-4 in his first game. In 1956, Yanks clinch pennant number 22 on Mantle's 50th homer of the year. In 1959, 59th U.S. Golf Amateur Championship won by Jack Nicklaus. In 1960, U.S. National Championship men's tennis Forest Hill, New York. In an all-Australian final, Neil Frazier wins 2 straight U.S. title, beats Rod Laver 6-4, 6-4, and 9-7. In 1960, U.S. National Championship Women's Tennis American Darlene Hard wins her first U.S. singles title, beats defending champion Maria Bueno of Brazil 6-4, 10-12, and 6-4. In 1961, Fran Tarkenton plays his first NFL game against the Chicago Bears, coming off the bench to lead the Vikings to a 37-13 victory, also becoming the only QB to throw 4 touchdown passes in his first career game. And also in 1961, Minnesota Vikings' first NFL game beat Chicago Bears 37-13. In 1964, Yankee Mickey Mantle gets career hit number 1999. Well, actually, gets career hits in 1999, 2000, and 2001, and his 450th home run in 6-2 victory over Los Angeles Angels at New York. In 1966 pickup sticks, Cleveland pitchers set AL record, striking out 19 batters in first 9 innings. In 1967, New Orleans Saints' first NFL game, they lose to LA Rams 27-13. In 1968, San Francisco Giants' Gaylord Perry no hits St. Louis Cardinals 1-0. In 1974, Courageous beats Southern Cross in 23rd American Cup. In 1977, Dave Kingman hits his first Yankee homer. Reggie hits 2 more. In 1977, Ryder Cup Golf, Royal Lytham, and St. Annis, U.S. wins 12.5 to 7.5. Last time a Great Britain and Ireland team competes for Ryder Cup. In 1978, after 6 losses to the New York Yankees in September, the Boston Red Sox finally scores a 7-3 win over the arch rivals at Yankee Stadium. In 1979, Royals' George Brett is 6th to have 20 doubles, triples, home runs in a season. In 1981, MLB Los Angeles Dodgers pitcher Fernando Valenzuela sets NL rookie record with 8 shutout of season. Valenzuela. I think that's how you pronounce it, I'm not sure. In 1983, Chicago White Sox clinched their first ever AL West championship. In 1984, Dwight Gooden ties record of 32 strikeouts in consecutive games. In 1984, Reggie Jackson is 13th to hit 500 home runs. In 1988, 24th Olympic Games open at Seoul, Korea. Also in 1988, Jeff Reardon becomes first to record 40 or more saves in both AL and NL. In 1989, New York City Court of Appeals overturns lower court decision and returns America's Cup back to the U.S. from New Zealand. In 1991, 4,355 turned out to see Expos play New York Mets at Shea Stadium. In 1992, NFL decides to suspend World League Football. In 1996, Dodger Hideo Nomo no-hits Colorado Rockies 9-0 at Coors Field. In the year 2000, Dan Marino's number 13 jersey is retired by the Miami Dolphins. In 2001, despite suffering from lung cancer and Parkinson's disease, Jack Buck stirs emotions by reading a patriotic-themed poem during the pre-game ceremonies on baseball's first night back after the September 11th terrorist attacks. In 2004, San Francisco Giants outfielder Barry Bonds hits his 700th career MLB home run of San Diego's Jake Peavy. And there's an asterisk right there, right next to it, somewhere. In the year 2006, Federation Cup Women's Tennis, Charlery, Belgium, Justin Henin Hardini of Belgium withdraws with an injured knee with decisive doubles match level at 1 set all. Italy wins first ever title 3-2. In 2017, Evian Championship Women's Golf Evian Resort, Anna Nordqvist of Sweden beat Brittany Altmaier at first sudden death playoff hole. Event reduced to 54 holes after day one abandoned by bad weather. In 2019, MLB San Francisco Giants outfielder Mike Yastrzemski homers his first game at Boston's Fenway Park, longtime home field of his grandfather Carl of the Red Sox. And those are all the things that happened on this day in the world of sports. And now let's get into some of the things that happened on this day in the world of film and television for September the 17th. In 1948, KCOP TV Channel 13 in Los Angeles, Hollywood, California begins. Also in 48, WLS TV Channel 7 in Chicago, Illinois begins broadcasting. In 1949, Third Cannes Film Festival, The Third Man, directed by Carl Reed, wins the Grand Prix du Festival International du Film. Also in 1949, WFAA TV Channel 8 in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas begins broadcasting. In 1956, television is first broadcast in Australia. In 1957, KETV Channel 7 in Omaha, Nebraska begins broadcasting. In 1957, two male attorneys stand in as actress Sophia Loren and producer Carlo Ponti wed by proxy in Juarez, Mexico. In 1963, The Fugitive, starring David Janssen, premieres on ABC TV. In 1964, American sitcom Bewitched, starring Elizabeth Montgomery, premieres on ABC TV. In 1964, Motown Records releases the Supreme single Baby Love, written and produced by the Holland Dozier Holland team. It becomes their second consecutive #1 record. In 1965, CBS premiere of World War II sitcom Hogan's Heroes. Also in 65, WPHL TV Channel 17 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania begins broadcasting. In 1966, Mission Impossible premieres on CBS TV, and look what the monster that they created with that show. Oh my God. A lot of movies starring Tom Cruise. Here's an idea. Let's have Mission Impossible go back to a TV series again. Just a thought. In 1967, American rock band The Doors appear for the first and last time on the Ed Sullivan Show. Singer Jim Morrison what is that word? Reneges. Renegades. The Ed Sullivan Show were the singer on a promise to change a lyric, prompting producers to offer no further invitations. Jim Morrison changing the lyric, that sounds about right. In 1967, British rock band The Who makes U.S. television debut, performing My Generation on the Smaller Brothers Comedy Hour and denoting Keith Moon's drum kit. In 1970, American TV variety program, The Flip Wilson Show, I really emphasized on the F there, debuts on NBC TV, runs for 4 seasons, winning 2 Emmy Awards. In 1970, WSWP TV Channel 9 in Grandview, WV begins broadcasting. In 1972, TV comedy series MASH, adapted from the movie starring Alan Alda, Loretta Swit, Wayne Rogers, and McLean Stevenson, debuts on CBS in the US and runs for 11 years, garnering 4 Emmy Awards and 1 Peabody. In 1976, NASA publicly unveils the Space Shuttle Enterprise in Palmdale, California, named after the Star Trek Enterprise, with a cast attending. In 1976, Polydor Atlantic releases Ringo Starr's fifth studio album, Ringo's Rotograver. Ringo's Rotograver. In 1978, 30th Emmy Awards, All in the Family. Ed Asner and Sada Thompson win. In 1980, Bette Midler's concert film Divine Madness, directed by Michael Ritchie, premieres. In 1983, 8th Toronto International Film Festival, The Big Chill, directed by Lawrence Kasdan, wins the People's Choice Award. In 1983, Vanessa Williams, Miss New York, is crowned 56th Miss America 1984, first winner of African American descent. In 1988, 13th Toronto International Film Festival, Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown, directed by Pedro Almodovar, wins People's Choice Award. In 1989, 41st Emmy Awards, LA Law, Cheers, Diana Delaney and Candice Bergen win. In 1992, Passion Fish, directed by John Sayles and starring Mary McDonnell and Alfre Woodard, premieres at the Toronto International Film Festival. Also in 1992, House votes 280 to 128 to give FCC control of cable TV rates. And that's why we can't have nice things. In 1994, 19th Toronto International Film Festival, Priest, directed by Antonia Bird, wins People's Choice Award. Also in 1994, Heather Whitestone of 21, Miss Alabama, crowned 68th Miss America 1995. In 2002, 27th Toronto International Film Festival, Whale Rider, directed by Nikki Caro, wins People's Choice Award. In 2005, 30th Toronto International Film Festival, Tsotsi, directed by Gavin Hood, wins People's Choice Award. In 2009, TV sitcom Community, directed by Dan Harmon, starring an ensemble cast including John McHale, Gillian Jacobs, and Alison Brie, debuts in the US. In 2010, documentary film Who is Harry Nilsson and Why is Everybody Talking About Him, released theatrically. In 2010, the final episode of soap opera As the World Turns is broadcast, ending a 54-year run. In 2013, TV comedy Brooklyn Nine-Nine, starring Andy Samberg and an ensemble cast, premieres in the US on Fox. In 2021, Netflix drama Squid Game premieres, created by Hawk Don Hayek. And in 2023, British comedian Russell Brand accused of rape, sexual assault, and emotional abuse by 4 women in investigation by the Sunday Times and Channel 4. Those are all the things that happened on this day in the world of film and television. And for the final installment of On This Day, we're going to look at music. And as you see there is a picture of one of the greatest rock bands of all time, Queen. So let's get this going. On September 17th, 1978, Queen took over Wimbledon Greyhound Stadium to film the video for their hit single Bicycle Race, directed by Dennis D. Valance, who also directed visuals for the Pointer Sisters, The Clash, Cool, and The Gang, and more. The video famously features 65 naked women, all of whom happen to be professional models. The concept involved them racing at the Wimbledon Greyhound racing track, not to be confused with the home of the famous tennis tournament. While the band rented a number of bikes for the models to use, the company leasing the bikes insisted that Queen purchased each of the bicycle seats used during the shoot once they learned of the concept. I wonder if I could find that video anywhere. Just curious. In 2011, Adele went to number 1 on the US singles charts with Someone Like You. The song, which has since gone 5 times platinum, was a hit across the world, reaching number 1 in Australia, Belgium, Brazil, Italy, and more. It also did monumental numbers in Adele's home country of England. Later, during the official charts, company's 60th anniversary, UK citizens choose Someone Like You as one of the top 3 most beloved singles of the past 60 years. The song trailed only Michael Jackson's Billie Jean and Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody. In 1983, Paul Young scores his first UK number 1 album with No Parlors. Young's debut was initially thought to be a dud, as early singles Iron Out the Rough Spots and Love of the Common People didn't register commercially, but a cover of the Marvin Gaye hits Wherever I Lay My Hat, That's My Home propelled the album to dominance. In 1976, the Sex Pistols played a concert for the inmates at Chelmsford Prison in Essex. Controversially, the performance was released as an album in 1990, featuring a significant amount of overdubs from the band's soundman David Goodman. In 1931, the first long-played record, a 33 1/3 RPM recording, was demonstrated at the Savio Plaza Hotel in New York by RCA Victor. And in 1964, the Beatles appeared at the Municipal Stadium in Kansas City. The band was paid $150,000 for the show, which was more than any act had ever been paid for a concert. And we have some birthdays here on September the 17th in the world of music. We have Hank Williams, who was born in 1923. Born on September 17th, 1939, Lamont Macklemore from the Fifth Dimension. Baz Luhrmann was born on this day in 1962. Born in 1969 is Keith Flint from The Prodigy. And born in 1985, Jonathan Jacob Walker from Panic at the Disco. And those are all the things that happened on this day in the world of music. And speaking of music, I think it's time that I present the main event of this very episode, and that is my top 30 favorite solo female artists of the 90s. Now, when it comes to the 90s itself, I love 90s music. And more specifically, I love some of the female artists and singers that came out during that time. And this is a list that I've been working on for the past few weeks, and I've really brought it together in high gear last night as I was concluding this list. Not much has changed. I still maintain this top 30, and let's get right into it. Now, before I unveil my top 30 favorite solo female singers and artists of the 90s of all time, I do have some honorable mentions. Country singer Leanne Rimes is an honorable mention. Mandy Moore, who was just fresh off the 1999 craze going into the early 2000s. Billy Myers had a good song called Kiss the Rain that came out in the mid-90s. Then we got Meryl Bainbridge, who had a song called Mouth, very underrated, really good song that came from the 90s to the mid-90s. Brandy and Monica, both separately and as a duo as well. They only had one song as a duo called The Boy's Mine, but the two of them individually, they had some good stuff out in the 90s. And the final honorable mention I have on here, Jennifer Page. So, what is my top 30 favorite solo female artists of the 90s? Well, let's get this going. Coming in at number 30 is Robyn. Robyn is a solo female singer that came out with a song called Show Me Love, and it was pretty much the precursor of what was to come in the pop craze of the late 90s. So there was that. Number 29, Lisa Loeb. She had a really good song called Stay, I Miss You. Just how adorable was Lisa Loeb way back when? She was a classy woman, masterclass, underrated singer, and I love her. Number 28, Fiona Apple. She came out with a song in the late 90s with a song called Criminal. And it's pretty much the only song I can think of when it comes to Fiona Apple. Number 27, Mary J. Blige. Now, Mary J. Blige had a good number of songs that came out in the 90s. None in particular stand out to me, but I want to shout her out because she was one of my favorite rhythm and blues singers that came out during that period. Number 26 on this list is Joan Osborne. She had a song called One of Us. What if God was one of us? And that was pretty much her claim to fame. And I know she had a couple of other songs out as well, but that is the song that stands out to me when I think of Joan Osborne. Number 25, Sean Colvin. And you pretty much know the song that is her claim to fame. That is Sonny Came Home, a song that was a big hit in that 90s period back in 1996. Number 24, Sinead O'Connor. And of course, you can't talk about Sinead O'Connor without mentioning the song Nothing Compares to You. I know she had other songs, but to me, that was the one that was pretty much her big hit. Number 23, Natalie Merchant. Natalie Merchant, I think, was an underrated singer during the time. She was in a band back in the 80s, the late 80s, called 10,000 Maniacs, and then she branched off into a solo career, and I think she had some pretty good tunes. And I actually know a couple of them. Jealousy was a really good one. Kind and Generous, I think, was probably the most famous Nellie Merchant song. Carnival and Wonder. Those are the songs to me that stand out when I think of Natalie Merchant. Coming in at number 22 on this list is Natalie Imbruglia. And you pretty much know why she is on this list. It is because of her song. Well, it's not her song. I'll get into that in just a bit. But when she came out with Torn, that propelled her to stardom. Now, like I just mentioned, Torn is not her song. Torn is a song that was written by a band called Edna Swamp, and it was the first recording of it was for a French singer. And so Natalie Imbruglia had a remake of it, of a cover of it, and that cover became the most famous version of the song Torn. So there's a bit of history there for you. Number 21 on this list is a Canadian, Sash Jordan. And to me, when I think of Sash Jordan, the song that I always go back to is a song called Make You a Believer, which came out in somewhere in the mid 90s. One of my favorite songs of the 90s as well. And Sash Jordan, I think, is very underrated. I don't see a lot of people giving her a lot of credit. Like I said, incredible singer, incredible talent there. That's why she is up there on this list. Coming in at number 20 on this list, Donna, excuse me. Now we get into the top 20 of this list, and coming in at number 20 is Donna Lewis, and you pretty much know why. Back in 1996, she came out with a song called I Love You Always Forever. That song went to the moon and back. That stayed at number one on Casey's Top 40 for 12 straight weeks. The most popular song during that time. That is why Donna Lewis is as high as she is. Number 19, Meredith Brooks. From 1997 to 1999, she had a couple of good songs like What Would Happen, Lay Down, Candles in the Rain, but her most famous, her breakout song, well, not really her breakout song, but you get the idea, is the one that propelled her to stardom. That was a song called Bitch. Number 18, Selena. From 1990 to 1996-ish, She has some really, really, really good songs. Now, she did do some stuff in Spanish. I mean, most of her songs are in Spanish from the 90s and the 80s, but she has some songs that are in English as well. The most notable ones are I Could Fall in Love, Dreaming of You, and I'm Getting Used to You. I love those songs. If I had to pick one, it would be I Could Fall in Love. That's my favorite song by Selena. Number 17 on this list, and I have a question for you. Where have all the cowboys gone? Number 17 is Paula Cole from 1994 to 1999. She had some really good tunes that really stand out to me as my favorites during the time. And like I mentioned, Where Have All the Cowboys Gone is the top one of those hits. Also, there are a couple of others. I Don't Want to Wait was a really good one. I Believe in Love, Be Somebody, and Me. Those are my favorites from Paula Cole. Coming in at number 16 on this list is a singer that probably is a little bit more famous for the group this person was in. But once the person went solo, she had a couple of good songs. That is Lauryn Hill. Back in 1998, she only had an album out, and there was about 2 to 3 good songs on there. Do Wop That Thing, X Factor, and Everything is Everything. Those are the songs to me that stand out when I think of Lauryn Hill. Great rhythm and blues singer, and just songs I could dance to as well. Slow dance or fast dance. And speaking of rhythm and blues singers, we're going to keep that track going because at number 15 on this list is Toni Braxton. From 1993 to 1997, Toni Braxton had some really good songs that came out in the 90s, like You're Making Me High, Another Sad Love Song, You Mean the World to Me. But to me, the biggest standout when I think of Toni Braxton is her slow ballad, Unbreak My Heart. That is a song that gets right into your soul and does not let go at all. That is why Toni Braxton is at number 15 on this list. Coming in at number 14 is Jewel. From 1995 to 1999, she has some really good songs that came out during that time, like Who Will Save Your Soul, You Were Meant for Me, Hands Down So Long, Jupiter, but to me, Jewel's most, maybe not the most popular, but my favorite Jewel song of all time is easily Foolish Games. At least the ones that came out as singles. Remember, I'm only talking about the singles that really propel these singers to stardom. So we're going to continue on with this list because coming in at number 13 is another Canadian. Number 13 is someone who's actually coming out with an album this month. That is Sarah McLachlan. She is from Nova Scotia. And she had some really good songs from the 90s, from 1991 to 1998. To me, the most notable songs that Sarah McLachlan came out are Building a Mystery, Sweet Surrender, Angel, but to me, her best is Adia. Sarah McLachlan just has an absolute voice of an angel, so innocent-like, and Sarah McLachlan is a singer I could pretty much listen to for eternity. She has that type of voice. Similar with Jewel as well. The two of them have really good singing voices. Speaking of really good singing voices, we're going to keep it going. Number 12 on my favorite top 30 solo female artists of the 90s is Melissa Etheridge. From 1992 to 1999, she came out with some really notable, catchy tunes like I'm the Only One, which is a really, really awesome, underrated blues song. We got Come to My Window, I Want to Come Over, and Angels Will Fall. To me, I'm the Only One is the best of that bunch. Number 11 on my favorite solo female artists in the 90s is probably one of the best objectively. Not just from singing wise, but popular wise, uh, album sales wise, that is Janet Jackson from 1993 to 1998. She had some really good tunes. She had That's the Way Love Goes, Because of Love, Together Again, I Get Lonely, Go Deep, You, so many more songs, but those are the ones that I wanted to note right there. And she's a Jackson. She is the sister of Michael Jackson. I mean, that's why she is up there on this list. But coming in at number 10, as soon as you think it couldn't get any better than this. At number 10 on my favorite top 30 solo female artists and singers of all time is Mariah Carey. From 1990 to 1999, to me, Mariah Carey is that singer that defined the 90s. She owned the 90s. She made the 90s great. She has songs like Fantasy, One Sweet Day, Always Be My Baby, Forever, Honey, Butterfly, Heartbreaker, Thank God I Found You. So many more songs, but those are just the ones I wanted to take note there. And like I said, Mariah Carey owned the 90s. Fantastic voice, well rounded, record sales through the roof, and she is just simply one of the best. Coming in at number 9 on my favorite singers of the 90s is Shania Twain. From 1993 to 1999, she had some really, really, really good tunes like Any Man of Mine. Who you whose bed have you whose bed have your boots been under? That's the name of the song. That is a hard one to say if you don't have it right in front of you. If you're not in it for love, you're still the one from this moment on, which is a really good ballad. That don't impress me much. And my favorite Shania Twain song from the 90s and of all time is Man. I feel like a woman. Dun, 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 dun. Usually, when I think of Shania Twain, I think of Man, I Feel Like a Woman. That's the first song I think of. And Shania Twain, fantastic country, fantastic country singer. When it comes to country singers of the 90s, she owned it. And there's no question about it. Coming in at number 8 on my favorite solo female artist of the 90s is another powerful singer. That is, God rest her soul, Whitney Houston. From 1990 to 1999, she's another one that defined the 90s and owned the 90s as well. Most notable for her remake of Dolly Parton's I Will Always Love You, When You Believe, Heartbreak Hotel, and no, not the Elvis cover. It's Right But It's Not Okay, and My Love Is Your Love. Those are the ones that really stand out to me when I think of Whitney Houston. And just an absolute powerhouse of a voice she has. She was incredible. And she's gone away too soon. Number 7 of my favorite solo female artists of the 90s is another powerhouse. We're keeping the powerhouses going on this list here because the number 7 is another Canadian. And that is Celine Dion. From 1990 to 1999, she had some not only bangers, but successful bangers. She had a song for the movie Beauty and the Beast. She had The Power of Love, Because You Love Me. It's All Coming Back to Me Now, All By Myself. But my favorite Celine Dion song of all time is the one from the soundtrack of the movie Titanic. You know what it is. I don't need to say the title, but I am going to say it anyway. My Heart Will Go On. Coming in at number 6 on my favorite solo female singers and artists of the 90s is Christina Aguilera, most notable for Genie in the Bottle and What a Girl Wants that came out in 1999. And let me tell you something, Genie in a Bottle was a big hit back in 1999. If you didn't live in 1999, you would not know about this because Genie in the Bottle really not only propelled Christina Aguilera, but made her a household name. That's how popular that song was. And speaking of popular, we're going to keep that popular thing going. Now, when it comes to my number five favorite solo female artist in the 90s, no, she may not be the best singer, but damn, you talk about popular of the yin yang, she's it right here. Number five is Britney Spears. From 1998 to 1999, she had the most success with Baby One More Time, which pretty much propelled her to stardom. That was a big standout. And then you had songs like Sometimes, You Drive Me Crazy, Born to Make You Happy, and From the Bottom of My Broken Heart, which all came out during that 1998 to 1999 period. And like I said, she may not be the best singer on this list, but you cannot deny that Britney Spears is one of the most popular artists that came out in the late 90s. Coming in at number four on my favorite solo female artists of the 1990s is another one that was gone way too soon, Aaliyah. From 1994 to 1997, Aaliyah had some really, really good songs. I was listening to a few of them last night and the night before just to get a refresher of the earlier stuff from Aaliyah, and I absolutely love her stuff. I think Aaliyah, for the age she was at only 15 years old back in 94 and 95 ish, she had a most mature voice that you would think she was wise beyond her years. She had great ones like Back and Forth, At Your Best, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, and we all know the story about that one. We don't need to get into it. Then we got Down with the Click, The Things I Like, and One in a Million, the original One in a Million. And like I said, Aaliyah gone away too soon, passed away at a really early age, and I think if Aaliyah was alive today, I think she would be bigger than Beyonce. And I'm going to go on record to say that. Now we only have three more solo female artists to go. Let's get this going. Coming in at number three on my favorite solo female artists and singers of all time, it is Alanis Morissette. From 1991 to 1995, Alanis Morissette came out with a really good album that came out in 1995 called Jagged Little Pill, which propelled her to stardom. You really haven't heard of, even though Alanis Morissette made music after that album, Jagged Little Pill, she really dropped off the radar. But that album really soared Alanis to stardom. And like I said, 1991 to 1999, she was making music in the 90s. And to me, Alanis has some great singles that really hit big, like You Wanna Know, You Learn, Hand in My Pocket, Ironic, Head Over Feet, Thank You, and So Pure. Those songs to me are really catchy. They really stand out. They were really successful when it comes to that 90s time frame. But to me, when I think of Alanis Morissette, I think of a song that came out on a soundtrack to a movie called City of Angels. And to me, Alanis Morissette's Uninvited is her best song. And it was also my introduction, so to speak, to the world of symphonic rock or metal. That song right there, just absolute, beautiful, creepy, airy, and the best thing to come out of Alanis Morissette. My number two favorite solo female singer slash artist of the 1990s is Sheryl Crow. From 1993 to 1999, Sheryl Crow had some really, really good songs that were really, really popular during that period. Songs like All I Want to Do is Have Some Fun. I Got the Feeling I'm Not the Only One. Anyway, continue on. We have If It Makes You Happy, Every Day is a Winding Road, A Change Would Do You Good, and my favorite Sheryl Crow song, which is absolutely heavily influenced by not only the Rolling Stones but Keith Richards, and that is My Favorite Mistake. But there is only one solo female singer slash artist that came out in the 90s that I think is my personal favorite. When I started this list, I knew this person was going to be number one, and that is another Canadian. My number one favorite solo female singer of the 90s is Amanda Marshall. From 1995 to 1999, Amanda Marshall, to me, probably one of the most underrated singers that came out during that period. Her self-titled album is now celebrating its 30th anniversary with songs like Let It Rain, Birmingham, Fall from Grace, Beautiful Goodbye, Dark Horse, and Singing on Top of the World. To me, I absolutely love all those songs equally. I really don't have a favorite, but if I had to pick one, Beautiful Goodbye, I think, is Amanda Marshall's best song, period, hands down. She also had Love Lifts Me and If I Didn't Have You, which came out in the later period of the 90s, roughly around 98 or 99. But that self-titled album is a big part of my childhood. Amanda Marshall herself is a big part of my childhood. And to me, Amanda Marshall is a fantastic singer. Soulful, energetic, powerful, uplifting, absolutely beautiful voice from Amanda Marshall. She came out with an album about a couple of years ago, and she still sounds great. That is why Amanda Marshall is my favorite solo female singer from the 90s. And this has been episode number 38 of the Rock Out Wild Show. And I hope all of you enjoyed this episode as well. I'm going to leave you all with a quote, and it goes something like this. Life's hardest moments are not meant to break you, but to build you into a stronger and more resilient person. You have already overcome so much in the past, proving your inner strength and courage. Embrace the challenges as opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Each difficult moment is a stepping stone towards a brighter future. You are capable of navigating through any storm that comes your way. Trust in your own power to overcome obstacles and emerge even stronger on the other side. Your journey is a testament to your unwavering spirit and resilience. Keep moving forward with faith and hope. This has been episode number 38 of the Rock Out Wild Show, and I'm your host, Just Mike. On a final note, to all of you watching, get plenty of rest and always do your best.